Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and this morning I'm going to do our March 26th, just for today, in a meditation. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. The title of the meditation for today, Trusting a Sponsor Worth the Risk. Now, that comes from page 88 in the Just for Today in a meditation. It says, in seeking a sponsor, most members look for someone they feel they can learn to trust, someone who seems compassionate. That comes from our IP number 11, entitled Sponsorship, the Revised Version. The idea of sponsorship may be new to us. We have spent many years without direction, relying only on self-interest, suspecting everyone, trusting no one. Now that we're learning to live in recovery, we find we need help. We can't do it alone anymore. We must take the risk of trusting another human being. Often, the first person we take that risk with is our sponsor, someone we respect, someone we identify with, someone we have reason to trust. As we open up to our sponsor, a bond develops between us. We disclose our secrets and develop confidence in our sponsor's discretion. We share our concerns and learn to value our sponsor's experience. We share our pain and are met with empathy. We get to know one another, respect one another, love one another. The more we trust our sponsor, the more we learn to trust ourselves. Trust helps us move away from a life of fear, confusion, suspicion, and indirection. In the beginning, it feels risky to trust another addict, but that trust is the same principle we apply in our relationship with a higher power. Risky or not, our experience tells us we can't do it. We can't do without it, rather. And the more we take the risk of trusting our sponsor, the more open we feel about our lives. Just for today, I want to grow and change. I will risk trusting my sponsor and find the rewards of sharing. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you, God. Grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. So, where are you at when it comes to sponsorship? Where are you at with trusting your sponsor? There's different levels of trust, and admittedly, it takes time to develop that relationship, I believe, where you can say, yeah, I trust my sponsor with everything. Generally, that takes time. I noticed in my relationship that, I would share certain things. And once I became convinced that I wasn't going to hear it, I would share other things. Um, there's another thing though, right? That I misunderstood about sponsorship because I really thought, this is my chosen best buddy. This person can do me no harm. They're going to be on my team no matter what, forever and a day. I can tell them something and not ever expect to hear it back. Or how about this one? I can tell them something, and never expect them to ever bring it up whenever they choose to. That one messed me up. For some reason, I had this ideal in my head that just because I spoke about it, that was that. Just because I told the secret, that I was never going to have to talk about it or hear about it again. And so when my sponsor would bring up a subject that I had previously mentioned, and there's some subjects I'm sure I didn't mention at all that they found out about, but when they would bring something up that I had mentioned previously at their leisure, right? Like it broadsided me. There was no guessing that this lunch date was going to turn into a discussion about my promiscuousness or infidelity or some other harm that I had caused and shared with my sponsor. I had no idea that this was coming or going to be the topic. And you know what I did? I got offended. How dare you? How dare you bring up my past? How dare you talk to me about something that I shared with you in confidence? How dare you? So now you're just going to throw that in my face and just sit there like you can ask me anything you want. Don't you know you can only ask me what I allow you to ask me because I'm only going to answer what I want to? How arrogant. That's just foolishness. And so my relationship with sponsorship and with my sponsor and how I sponsor, it developed over time. And while today I realize that it's all fair game, right? That's the whole purpose is for me to invite someone into my life to be able to speak into my life and share with me their perception of how I can use the spiritual principles of the steps to improve my life. That is not a rent-a-buddy system. There isn't any control that I have in that system, right? I can have an opinion, but control, like I can tell my sponsor when to ask me a question about something that I covered in my fifth step with them 6 months ago. No, it's not a rent a sponsor type relationship. It's a relationship that I've said I want to work the 12 steps. And I trust that you have a working knowledge of them and you can help me. But when they go to help me, I'm offended. Oh, now you're throwing that in my face. Oh, I had to grow up, guys. I had to grow up. I think about my behavior. I think about my attitudes back then, and it literally makes me want to vomit. I mean, literally, I had to grow up. There was no winning in my presence. There was no, you're right, I'm wrong in my presence. There was no bringing any topic up that I had ever initiated about anything without me being offended and sabotaging the relationship. So do yourself a favor. If you don't want to talk to your sponsor about it and you don't want your sponsor to talk to you about it, don't bring it up. Matter of fact, get another sponsor because that relationship that you're talking about is a renter sponsor type relationship where you have all the power. You initiate contact when you want to, and they never have anything that they can ever say to you about anything that you've ever shared with them. You are completely in control. As a matter of fact, you're absolutely sponsoring yourself and you don't need them. You want them, but you don't need them. Because if you needed them, you would reposture your attitude about it. I had to. I had to. I just got so sick and tired of myself. And I got really burnt out when I couldn't come up with the solution. I got really, really, really burnt out. I don't live like that today. I don't live like that today. So we're talking about trusting a sponsor. And I'm talking about the process of being able to trust a sponsor. It doesn't happen overnight. And 9 times out of 10, it may or may not complete itself. I don't know if there's a complete trust that I would ever have of any single human being ever in my life. I don't think so because I understand human frailty. I understand human desire and ambition and weaknesses because I understand my own frailty, my own weakness, my own ambition sometimes make me very, very, very unapproachable, right? And so during those times, I pull back. During those times, I step aside from, especially if it's a service position that seems like no one else is ever going to fill, I step aside in the spirit of rotation because I know I'm not in a healthy spot right now. And I'm not saying right now, but in that moment, I realized that there's no way I should be doing service on this level with this attitude. I got some work to do. And I can be humble enough to acknowledge that, and willing enough most times to get in there and do the work spiritually so that I can get back to the things that I survive off of. Okay. So that's my lowdown on this topic. Figure out if you have a sponsor that you trust. And if you don't trust them, why don't you trust them? If it's some foolery, some foolishness, like they threw something up in my face, I don't think they threw it up in your face. I think that you opened the can of worms, and when they saw the moment was appropriate, they brought it up and said, "Hey, you know what? This reminds me of when you did such and such. We need to talk about that." That's totally okay. And if you're not okay with that, you're not where I personally think you're ready to take suggestions because that's not what I believe sponsorship is about, you know? Now, if they're shaming you and trying to embarrass you in front of other people with your business, yeah, dump them. Right? I'm sorry, y'all. If they're like, oh man, gaslighting you and trying to embarrass you in group settings, and yeah, I don't see that going anywhere. Now, if it's just a bunch of people sitting around talking a bunch of trash and we got sponsees and sponsors sitting there, everybody's having a good time. Now, take your feelings off your sleeve and keep it 100. It's just fun and games. But if this is a targeted situation where they have their foot on your neck and they're doing this in front of people, dump dump them, and find someone that you can and will work with. Hey guys, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I really can go on about this topic forever, because I've endured a lot of abuses in sponsorship relationships. Uh, and I don't want that for anyone. I want you to find, I want you to find someone that be honest with you, right? You need someone to be honest with you. And that is not always going to feel good. But what we don't need is to come into this program of Narcotics Anonymous, turn the butt kick and try to turn our own butt kicking machine off, and then have a sponsor that stays in our behind 100% of the time with rude comments, degrading comments. No, I'm sorry. I cannot submit to that. I do not agree with it, and I don't think any human being in recovery deserves it. But if you like it, I love it. If you like it, I love it. I just don't get down that way. I don't appreciate it, and I don't think anyone deserves to be treated that way. And so I want you thinking about that relationship, because is it possible that you're not progressing because you don't have the trust that you need with your sponsor? Is it possible that you admire your sponsor for different reasons? I've seen people get sponsors that they um, had crushes on. I mean, if I'm just being honest, I've had sponsees that have had crushes on me, and come to find out they've got a crush on me. And I'm just like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Check this out, chick. I'm a married woman and I'm straight. So whatever you think you're doing, you're gonna have to do that with somebody else, because I don't have the time for people that got crushes on me right now. Right? I'm trying to work this marriage and handle my life. So yeah, there's some times where you're gonna find stuff is out of sorts because your motives aren't right. And if that's the case, yeah, you still need another sponsor. How you gonna have a sponsor you got a crush on? There's that. See? See what I'm talking about? Think it out, guys. Think it out. Think it through. Sometimes there's gender identity issues, and that can confuse a situation. Um, and I totally believe that you need time to figure that out. Figure out, what gender you need to sponsor you. You need to figure that out, right? But let's make sure that our motives are right, that this person is a person that you believe can help you through the steps. That's a hard topic, but it's a real one. It's not going to make me not talk about it just because it's a touchy topic, right? We need to take a look at why we're not progressing. And sometimes the reason, again, I'm emphasizing that we're not progressing, is because we've chosen them for the wrong reason. And we need to correct that. They'll make a great friend for you, but probably not a great sponsor. Okay. So have a beautiful day. I am going to do my best to have a beautiful day. I'm a little burnt out. I don't know if you can tell or not. I'm a little burnt out, and I don't see a break. I don't see a breakthrough time wise, unless I just shut everything down and take the break that I need. And that gets kind of hard when you want to dedicate a certain amount of time for projects at home or with your family, and you're being pulled in different directions. Self-care is important. And so I need to figure this out so I can get my wind beneath my wings back. However, this is a sacred moment in the morning to me. This is a special moment in time, and I'm enjoying that. So I'm going to do the best that I can to have a beautiful day. If you're a praying person, send me out a prayer. If you would like to make comments down below, let me know what it is about your sponsor that you love, not what you don't love, what it is about your sponsor that you love. If you don't have a sponsor, throw me out a date that you intend to get a sponsor by, and I will comment in return as time allows. Have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to talk to you tomorrow.